Joining us now in our Lagos studio is strategy consultant. He's also a public affairs analyst, Dipo Oyewole. We also have the convener, Campaign for Dignity and Governance, Razak Olukoba, with us in the studio. Mr. Olukoba and Oyewole.
Thank you very
joining
much.
Us. Good morning. Well, we are here to talk about a very serious issue in the country, and your colleagues have spoken, and I just wonder, starting with you, Razak Olukoba, to what extent you agree with, the decisions that have been reached. Now, they have called it a state of emergency, that is the situation, that's the level we have reached in the country. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's good to call for such, and already the situation in the country has actually called for it. It's just a pronouncement that is required now. But when you call for such, there must be a recommended roadmap. We will be assuming that when the president assumes office, the task of presidency gives him the leverage to understand a lot of things. But we might be mistaken. That's why we need to build that barricade around him in terms of telling him and advising him appropriately on what to do. The president is working, and it will be very, very difficult for anybody to tell someone who slept 4 a.m. yesterday night and woke up 6 a.m. this morning that he is lazy. And that has been the pattern with all the president of Nigeria, that they are hardworking. But for us to be able to get him to do the right thing, it requires what the civil society has done, and requires also to create a content for what the president should do. And like I've also been saying, that the universal laws that governs the world, Nigerians has a penchant for deviating from it. Economy, health, education. The same thing, security too. There's no way you will have 250 million people in a country like Nigeria, and you put in place a security model of this nature, and you'll expect that lives will be safe. Economy is constantly the cause for insecurity all over the world. But one of the major things that causes insecurity is when you don't get your security architecture right, which is the challenge we have in Nigeria. The security architecture we have in this country, in fact, is an inviter to criminality. The police have done what they can do. The army is overstretched already. All you need to do is to complement it by giving the people the legislation sufficient enough to be able to defend themselves. I'm talking about states. I'm talking about people. All the criminality we are witnessing in Nigeria, banditry, kidnapping, put them together, I don't think they're up to 1 million. And they are holding 250 million Nigerians responsible. We need to be organized. Communities must be given legislative empowerment to be able to create an outfit to defend themselves. This is going to continue if you don't look in that direction.
Okay.
It is not the absence of gun. It is not the changing of security chiefs. It is not the lack of training for the police. No. It is the way we operate our security architecture in this country. Why do our armies go to the rest of the world and come back with medals? How do the police go? So we are the one mismanaging them. We are the one mismanaging them. The police are. So what we need to do, we have said it over and over and over and over again, that governors and Nigeria must help our president. There is no law that says that the governor of Ekiti should not empower his own people by making provision from lighter arms to secure his own people. There's no law. Okay. You have a right to procure lances for yourself. And so if you procure 100,000 guns to secure his own people, there's no that prevents from doing that. So if that's in specific time. But in general time, the security architecture of this country requires a modification that will allow state to play a role.
Oh, all right. That said, you've raised up some very interesting perspectives, which I will take you up on further. But let's get Dipo Oyewole's opening remarks. What do you make of the situation? Your colleague here, your co-analyst, has spoken about the president, he's working hard, having sleepless nights, and he's also probed the security architecture that currently obtains in the country. What are your thoughts?
Well, for me, its first instinct is outrage, because I remember, maybe last week, I posted a video of one of my sessions here with you, 2021, first quarter 2021. I was seated right over there on the other chair, and it was about kidnappings. And I was reading out the data of the different states where it was happening, the numbers and all of that, like we saw in the report from Civic Society this morning. And unfortunately, it's like we have somehow jumped into a time machine and gone back there again. Only that in this case, it has become worse. So one would expect that by now, that our security agencies have been able to look for dynamic ways to tackle these issues, because it isn't new to us. It isn't fresh to us, because even in 2021, it wasn't the first time it was happening in such a wave that we had been complaining about it for many years before then. So the question is, what have they been doing so far? Because if criminality is taking a different form, are you being dynamic in your approach to respond to it as well? So it isn't enough to say that maybe they're overstretched or not. The question is, are they being dynamic in execution? Because the president can only do so much. The politicians can only do so much. You are the people that will face them head on. Have you thought about to say, these are the things that we need to get done? These are the equipments we need. These are the strategies we need to have to be able to see that we quash these things. And somehow I don't understand why all these issues keep happening, and it seems like they go unpunished because they don't happen in a vacuum. They happen in a particular community. You have kidnappings happen in a community. You have their camps in a particular community within certain states. So the question is, what are security agencies doing in those places? What are the local authorities doing in those places? What are the community leaders doing in those places? Will you tell me that you have vast array of land and you cannot account for the people that go in and out of it? Because you keep hearing that they move their camps every day, they move their camps every 2 days. You have people who are likely on maybe motorcycles, all kinds of vehicles, moving hundreds of people every 2 days, and you're telling me that in your community, you do not know what is going on, you are unaware of it. I think everybody needs to sit up and need to have serious conversations about this thing. Everybody is complicit in this matter. Everybody is. And we must say it as it is. Unfortunately, right now, we have kidnappings becoming a daily occurrence now, especially in Abuja. I don't know how that's come to be. So we need to see how we address these issues, and we must address them objectively and strategically. The security agencies need to be very dynamic with how they approach this issue. It cannot be business as usual, because the criminals themselves are not operating business as usual any longer. So we need to see how we get things done, and we must do it effectively. Enough is enough. Nigerians are under a lot of stress and strain as it is, given from the issues primarily from the economy. We cannot be looking over our shoulders to say that, okay, the person walking behind me is trying to snatch me, is trying to throw me in the vehicle. What is going on? Different parts of the country, all kinds of things going on. Yesterday, we had 2 monarchs killed in Ekiti State. Every other day, we have people killed in one place or the other, kidnappers, ritualists, one-chance operators. When are we going to stop all of this? And like I keep saying that I've always said here on other platforms over the years, is when bad behavior is not punished, it is encouraged. Because the question that we should also ask ourselves is, why are these things on the rise? Because if you have heard and seen that the folks that kidnapped somebody in a particular place have maybe been gunned down, or they've been taken to court and sentenced to life imprisonment, it should serve as some kind of deterrent to the people who want to think about it as well. But somehow we keep seeing new factions, new groups, new sectors, new subsectors coming up every single day, because people believe that it is a lucrative business, it is a way to generate revenue that is untaxed, that is not monitored by anybody, and it's free for all. But until we are able to let them know that you try this, you waste your life, either you are gunned down when you are trying to be apprehended, or you are taken to the court of law where you serve a life imprisonment, these things will keep happening, and we'll keep having these conversations year on year.
Oh, all right. Well, Mr. Lokoba here has advocated that there should be an overhauling of the current security framework or the model that we operate. And you've said not just even state police now, but breaking it down, breaking it further, because it's hitting closer home as we speak. Southwest, the Lagos-Ibadan road that many were rejoicing that okay, the expressway is now very good now for vehicular movement, but now it has suddenly
come back again.
It has suddenly become another hotspot.
See, we like to be emotional in Nigeria. If you are hungry and you tell most Nigerians that hunger kills people, say no, in the name of God I will not die. And that's the end result of people who refrain from re-energizing, which is food and water. This case is not going to improve. It's not going to improve. It's not a cause. A time is coming. I have said it. And when things get worse, it's not because Tinubu is a bad person or is a bad president. If you don't repair your car, it keeps getting better. Don't send your driver to training school. Repair your car. Repair the security architecture of this country. Don't hold the president responsible. Let us hold him responsible for not doing the appropriate. But the rickety nature of this security architecture is not responsible for it. We designed and handed over to him. Let's put it back on the road. Let's fix it. Now, like I said before, I said this, that a time is coming where we will no longer go to the police. And it's going to happen in the north. You go to bandits that can we have access to this road. I have an inkling of it when I travel to Beningwari Inquiry to sink a borehole. The bandits on the road. And the agreement between the people there and the bandits to pass. And before that place, we saw how many checkpoints. They did the needful. They did everything. We went to Boli, did the needful. But the village people knew the implication. If they were too harsh on them, there will be repressor. So what I'm saying in essence is that the recruitment center for criminality is when local government and the state government refuse to take care of smaller crimes. Federal police cannot be going after husband and wife is fighting over pot or soup, pickpocket and small. These are smaller crimes. And that's a recruitment center for bigger crimes. So any society that has refused to kill smaller crimes, that's where bandits come. People don't become bandits overnight.
Saying now that the governors need to do more. Are the government empowered legally?
The governor must be empowered. That's the point. That's the summary. The governor needs empowerment. Like what my colleague has said, that in all these communities, the communities are willing. But bandits use big guns, sophisticated guns. If an army officer comes and sees an individual with sophisticated gun, you'll be arrested. And that is a deprivation of a right to secure yourself. There must be a limit. We can't be creating problem for every solution. And they are killing each other in America. America designed a very terrible moral standard for their young people, which I don't think should be a standard for us in Nigeria. Train your children. If you train your children, you wake up people and start killing people. So that's a subject for another debate. Let's give the more society keeps increasing in population. You can't compare UK with America. America has a big population. China has a big population. So they operated a peculiar system of security that merits and fits their society. This is not a time where you give your security to one idea of police. And it's not because we are not saying that police don't know how to do their duty. They are sophisticated, but they are supposed to be handling bigger issues. We are mismanaging a national asset by asking the police to come and do state work, by asking the police to come and enforce state laws, state local government laws. You are mismanaging an asset. In Nigerian police, as it stands, the budget for him in a year may be 25 million. So you now reduce his role to start following one chairman of local government to a party. That's not his role. His role is a sophisticated role that at a bigger level, bigger issues. So for us, if you don't have to have recruitment for criminals, allow the local government and the state to secure their states. And in the meantime, the governors have the right. We design, and one of the founders of Amatekun, we designed a model for them. We recruited all the granola seller on the road, the yam seller in the whole of South up to Kwarankoyi. They were willing to become intelligence officers for the state. But the governor told us, and they turned Amatekun to political appointment. And we warned them, Security is a passion. Oh. Go and give 2 slots to party chairman, party secretary, 1 woman. That's not security. Security is, are you fit? If it is someone from Lagos that can do the job, your children living in Lagos, go and give him. You say, he's not part of a political party here. No, that's not security. And that is why, to the opposition now, the resentment you have for your president must stop. Immediately, there's a question of economic crisis, the security crisis, and that goes to Atiku. The way he's presenting the picture is trying to turn to petrify the matter. It's a bigger issue. It's a bigger picture. So for us as a people in Nigeria now, like he has said, the role we should play as a people is to be assertive to the president that you understand this terrain very well. We know you are brilliant. You can do the work. But you can't succeed with this security model. It's under Obasanjo. Get getting escalating. The job, the OPC, get escalating. When Jonathan came there, it kept escalating. Not because they were bad, but what you handed over to them is what they're going to use. And that's what Tinubu used to do. And it's not going to work.
Do you think this is an approach that the lawmakers should also push for?
Yes, that's why he said it's all of us should be in need. The lawmakers should stop wasting our time by saying that the president should give a matching order to people who are dying every day in the bush. Their sisters are so much children. Give matching order to who again? Allow the state, break the state into components. It's working down already into 30 states. So legislate.
Allow the states, but saying allow the states, this is a legal framework
that's what they must do. That's what they must do. It's their role.
All right. Okay, let's come back to Dipo Oyewole now. To what extent do you agree with this intensified calls for state police? Mr. Olokoba has even raised an element of the politicization, so to speak, of this.
Yes.
If corrected, if we're able to, go past these issues of the politics of state police now, could it work?
It should work because at this point, we have to try new things. A couple of years ago, I believe, maybe a decade ago, we had this conversation around state policing, and then there were a lot of us that were saying, don't do it, and people were saying they use it for political assassinations and all of that. But so far, what we have so far isn't working. So can we try something else? Can we try something else? And why are we not trying something else? Because what we have so far isn't working. And somebody said it's insanity to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So can we do something else to see that it works and be able to put strong legal framework in place to ensure that there are limits and boundaries to how their charter works? You can't go beyond this particular area, and we're able to strategically articulate what they should do per time. Because if we keep relying on what we have now, I'm afraid we'll keep having these conversations over and over again. So we must see how we go about state policing and policing at the local levels. Because in the end, we say everything is local. Politics is local, business is local, security is also local, because all of these people come from different places, they come from different homes, they operate in different communities, and there are people that belong to those communities, and they must be able to say that they can protect and secure their own communities, because in the end, they're the primary stakeholders of what goes on there. We're in Kosovo local government now. If you are saying if somebody in Alimosho should be drinking Panadol for your headache, how does that work? If issues affect where you are, address it where you are. Because either you like it or not, what the issues you refuse to address in your own particular community is one day going to come and knock on your own door. The question is it going to come and knock at your door to ask for a cup of salt, a cube of sugar? Or is it going to come and knock at your door with a gun in hand and asking for your life? So we need to have these conversations critically and be very serious about it. Enough of the games, enough of the politicking, enough of whatever we've been doing so far that hasn't been working. We need a new approach. We need an effective approach to see that we get this done and we get it done as soon as possible. So yes, state policing right now is looking like a very good alternative. Local policing at the local level is also looking like a very sensible idea. We must be able to secure our communities, because before anything rises to the national level, it does start at the local level. That is how everything works.
The Senate has, talked about summoning service chiefs as from next week, in addition to meeting.
What end? To what end?
With the president.
To what end? We've been doing this summoning. Are they going to flog them? Or they're going to tell them, kneel down, raise your hands, and close your eyes? To what end? We need to get serious about this. You are legislators. not prefects in secondary school that to say that, okay, you didn't lay your bed, come and get this done. We need to be serious about it. You are legislators. Make laws that ensure that these things get done the way they should be done. And the summoning as well, I'll expect that it's not just a one-sided Q&A. The security chiefs coming should also be able to give recommendations. Say that these are our limitations under the current law that we have. Can you see what to do about it? So if we are not going in that direction with all these summonings, I believe it's just a bloody waste of time.
In addition, Mr. Olukoba, let me also push this this follow-up. The issue, the civil society is also miffed at what it calls the seeming nonchalant attitude of governors to the issue of ransom payments. They say they seem to have just given up on the issue. We are hearing humongous amounts now being demanded for by the abductors, 100 million and the likes.
That's why we say that it's going to get worse. We must not be emotional about this. Wound that is not treated will fester. We have numerous strange attitude in Nigeria. Pray over everything. When God said that what I have not done for Muhammad and Christ, I can't do it for you. He made it clear to us. Don't assign role that does not belong to the army to them. Army have to fight war. Internal security belongs to civil defense, police, and things like that. So you are creating confusion for us as a nation. The missing link, there's a fear about it, which I quickly want to address. The fear is that is state police not likely to be abused? And that's why when you see someone policing an aeroplane, let the man explain the science behind this. Don't condemn by saying it's going to fall. People who spoke as state police, express your challenge and engage them. This is what Nigerians don't do. Once particularly in social media, it's not helping us. Social media, we are not right for, so we are right for so many elderly good things. As a responsible nation, our duty to perform it, we are not right for that. So, state police, there's always a fear of abuse. And we have explained to people that Mr. President is empowered in the Constitution to take over a state and declare emergency. That is misrun. There's a crisis. The parliament in the country has a right in the Constitution to take over a state parliament that is also being mismanaged. There's a law that will bind the federal and the state police together. The federal police is going to supervise, not the way the federal government behave as a dictator to state government now. A supervisory law to guide the states according to the Constitution, not to come and take over cases that belong to the state police. And watch out. The moment a state police is becoming an asset of a governor, it will be federalized. That's the pattern in America. That's the pattern all over the world. Why is it that when it comes to Nigeria, there's a universal standard to security, to economy anywhere in the world? We want to change it. The standard to security in the world is that your gateman go to private guard. You don't need army to open your gate for you. The moment you see an army at your, it creates a social barrier between your visitor and you. So, but a civilian who is a private guy is what we. So for our internal security, of course, the army can create a buffer for higher level of equipment. But I say that the recruitment center is when local crimes were unable to be solved and police have bigger issues. Someone fought over a pot of soup. You are calling for that. That's a disrespect to our federal police. Local police, they have a peculiarity on their area. Look at the issue of Boko Haram. In Borno State, the state police, if they were there, they would recommend a higher ideological Islamic campaign to the state. But because the police don't understand the terrain, they came and killed Yusuf. See what we have today. But if there's been state police, it's a campaign issue, Islamic campaign issue to understand, no, don't radicalize yourself. This is the way. And we have forgotten about Boko Haram today. Or they will be assisting. And that is the way federal police has been operating. You can't blame them for that.
All right.
They don't understand our peculiarity. So we call on Mr. President. You understand your pain. You are doing your best. But Nigeria is saying that this is the same vehicle about the road. The same vehicle Jonathan Road. The same vehicle Buhari Road. You are riding the same vehicle. For people who are around you, they must summon that courage to keep reminding the president that we need a new layer of security to complement the work of the army, the civil defense, the SS, SSS, DSS,
All right.
and the Nigerian police, if we want to come out of this.
All right. Mrs. Paul, so finally what we are hitting the top of the hour, pointed to end this cycle of conversations. What further admonitions will you be making in this regard, especially in the area of ungoverned spaces, which is the haven for these criminals?
Personally, I don't believe any space is ungoverned, because every particular space is under the governance of a particular authority, either local or state, before it gets to federal. So everybody must take responsibility. Because when we say things like ungoverned spaces, it means that somebody is being absolved of their responsibilities. There's no space that is ungoverned. I can't enter this studio and start swinging your camera around and say that because maybe somebody isn't standing there, he wants to have a cup of water to drink. So there are governed spaces, and we must hold the people governing those spaces accountable. So that is just that. We must be responsible, and we must be decisive. We must be strategic. Like we've said, the security architecture as is ineffective, it is inefficient, it cannot work. We must be strategic about it and be dynamic with how we execute the strategies that we have. How you will execute strategies in Borno State are not the same with how you execute it in Delta State. You must understand the local terrain to see that you understand the cultural motivations behind certain things, the cultural differences behind certain issues, behind certain crimes. They may appear to be the same, because you'll be surprised that the reason why somebody will kidnap somebody in Kaduna State is not the same reason why they will kidnap in Delta State. These are very different issues, different motivations here. So you must see how you address those motivations and include them in your strategies to see how you execute effectively. Or else, if you keep importing something that doesn't apply to a particular locale, you'll see that you are ineffective and nothing gets done eventually. All
right, gentlemen, Dipo Oyewole, image consultant, as well as convener Campaign for Dignity and Governance, Razako Lokoba, thanks a lot for your contribution.
It's a pleasure,
we really appreciate